Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at SoberCoffeePod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Two guys on a path, maybe three guys. We'll figure that out in a minute. How you doing, Glenn?
Man, I'm doing good this morning.
Yeah,
I'm doing a lot of reflecting. I got a lot of thoughts going on.
I know.
But I'm excited.
It's great to be in the shop.
Oh,
though,
my gosh, man. I'll tell you what. It is, I was just thinking, I was talking to somebody yesterday. They're like, man, I don't see as many meetings these days. And
the meeting police.
Well, totally. I used to go to like 10 meetings a week, and now I go to one or two. But I think of all the other things I do.
Right.
So when I was going to 10, that's primarily all I did.
Right.
But now I think of all the other things I do now, and I'm like, I'm still living the 10 just in other ways.
Right.
And this is one of them.
And yeah, this is one of them. And I know you work with guys trying to help keep them sober, which is really important. Kind of time consuming sometimes.
Yeah, and I do the Arcosa thing, and I do the church men's group thing, the Rhinos, and so it's all good stuff, man. I love.
You're an overachiever. Hey, we got table for three.
I know.
Today.
I love table for threes, man. Let's dive right in.
All right, so this guy actually came to us through some social media structure. I don't know if it's. I can say Instagram because I've got some experience, and then I say TikTok. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
It's out
I don't
there.
know if you swipe. I don't know what the deal is.
No, that's Tinder, man.
Okay,
Stop.
should I
stop with the swipe?
Stop the swipe.
Yeah.
Okay, but good morning, Greg. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good. So I had you in my brain because I'm so AA, right? That Greg D. But we're going to use your last name today, right? Because you've got some services.
Good message.
Yeah, you got a good message and some good services, and people want to check you out. They need to know your last name, right? So.
Yeah, it's helpful for sure.
Right. So anyway, Greg Downs on with us, and how did you guys end up connecting? Was it TikTok or was it? Do you remember, Greg?
I think it was Instagram.
Instagram. You're old school.
Yeah. I'm not good with the swiping either. I don't really know that world at all, but I think it was Instagram.
Right. Great.
No, that's great. No, we're out there on a bunch of different platforms and just connect and just love connecting and learning about sobriety and sharing experience, strength, and hope. You know.
Yeah. So, what brought you into the rooms of recovery?
Oh, that's a great question, man. It's been a wild ride. So my sobriety date is August 5th, 2024. So got a little over, what's that? 21 months, something
That's
like that.
That's fantastic, man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It impresses me, that's for sure.
I know, right? Isn't it scary when you really look in the mirror, and you say, "Wow, I'm not that same guy I was."
Yeah, it is. It's pretty wild. And I'm fortunate enough now. My wife has kind of seen the difference. But I was just thinking while we were talking that I had known I had a drinking problem for a long time. And at one point I had tried stopping on my own, and I went 45 days without drinking. Woo-hoo. And I thought I was like the king of the world.
Oh, gosh, isn't it great how that
what
works?
Alcoholic can't stop for 45 days? I stopped for 45 days. I don't have a problem.
Then came day 46.
I've got this.
Yeah. Oh, and it was right back even higher than it was before. Yeah.
That's what they say. Yeah.
So 21 months, whatever it is now, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Watch out for the 22nd month. It's a bitch.
Right. That's funny.
That's what I heard, right? It's the worst.
That's funny. So you came into the rooms in August of 2024, but you had a career going. I mean, did your drinking affect your career choices, and what kind of career did you have before?
Yeah, it did. So I was a financial advisor for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm down in Florida. I worked with a lot of really wealthy families in managing their investments, and that's what I did for 14 years. And for most of that time, it was great, right? I had an expense account that helped fuel my alcoholism. It was great to go out and put expensive dinners on the company card
and cocktails. Yeah.
And lots of cocktails. Actually, I had listened to one of your podcasts a couple of weeks ago, and you'd shared about the bar tab you had that was
All
like
right.
$1,700.
Yeah, and here, if you remember the end of that story, I got home and my wife wanted $200 for groceries, and I berated her. I'm like, "Come on, man! What do you think I made of money?"
It's
Right?
awesome.
And I did the same thing numerous times. I don't know if it ever got up to 1,700, but definitely had to pay some big bills and go back to the bar the next morning with my tail between my legs to get the credit card and see what the damage was.
Yeah, right. So, you've got a wife who's supporting you, and then
Yeah.
mentally supporting you, and then you got kids too, Greg.
No, no kids. We have two cats,
Oh,
but
nice.
just me and my wife.
I think
Yeah.
the
She actually,
cats are probably more higher maintenance than the kids. So,
yeah, probably. But my wife actually chose to stop drinking. She, didn't have the same issues with it as I did, but a little over a year ago, she decided it just wasn't serving her anymore and decided to stop. And so it's been really a beautiful journey we've been on together.
So here's something funny. My wife, I met her when I was like 3 months sober in my 4-month program, right? So she's seen me on my sober journey. She didn't know the drinking gland, but she'll drink about 4 times a year, right? And like she'll go out and have 2 drinks, and then she'll feel like crap the next day. And I actually said this. This is hilarious. I'm like, if it makes you feel like crap, why would you drink? I mean, for 5 years, I was so hungover the next day, I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow.
right.
And she got a slight headache. I'm like, well, why would you drink?
Well, my wife we'll go to a wedding, let's say, or a function, and we walk in, and she's like, "Mike, go get me, something with rum and fruit juices, and hurry up." I mean, she'll almost knock over the little old ladies going to the bar, right? And so I quickly get her drink for her, grab myself a Pepsi or a coffee, come back to the table. Fast forward 5 hours later, we're leaving, and 3/4 of the drink is there. I'm like, but why? But why?
Oh, it's so true. My wife, we would go out to dinner, she'd have a glass of wine and maybe get a second one. And like you said, there'd be 3/4 left. I'd have 6 beers at the same time and then finish her glass of wine on the way out because I just couldn't let it go to waste.
No way, man.
Right,
No way.
right. So tell me what's changed since August of 24 for you, primarily. What's really changed in your life?
So I'll share a little more too. So that morning of August 5th, I got arrested in my front driveway. I had done some stupid things and ended up going to jail for 6 months actually.
Oh,
Wow.
And
wow.
so from August 5th to February 5th, I had spent in the jail system here locally and was not a particularly fun experience, but it really helped me kind of hit that rock bottom and set the foundation to reset my life. And, like I said, I had been this financial advisor at working with a lot of wealthy people, had grown this huge ego, thinking that I was kind of on top of the world, having all these people listen to me and how smart I am and how great I am. And, 6 months later to end up in a jail cell, it was pretty wild. But so I ended up going into, I went to a meeting in the jailhouse. Actually, one of my cellmates had been in AA, had been sober, and decided, talked me into going to an AA meeting at the jail, and we went. And there was the guy that spoke had my story. He was a financial advisor. We talked about how he had troubles going into hotels and walking by the bar and couldn't get past the bar or wake up the next morning, have to go to a meeting hungover, feeling terrible. And I could relate so much. And so I asked him, where does he go for meetings? And it turns out he goes to a clubhouse that's less than 5 minutes from my house.
Crazy how this is all playing out.
Unbelievable. And so I end up going to a meeting when I get out, and I do what they say. I raise my hand, I ask for help, and this big burly guy with a fat dip in his lip comes over and tells me he likes the jewelry around my ankle that I had on at that moment in time. I still do.
The jewelry.
And
Sexy.
we hit it off.
Sexy
It was,
time. So Greg, I got to ask, and you're welcome to say no, but what was the little incident that sent you to the jail?
Yeah, so I had texted someone that I would kill them if I saw them again.
Mm,
In Florida, that's a second degree felony.
mm.
Uh, so it was I was drunk and angry at the world one night and fired off this message, and that's what did it.
That's a good coaching tip for folks out there. Secondly, is how what impact does that have? And I'm asking this because I've experienced this through my own world. How does that impact because from what I understand, the financial words don't like the F word. The financial world doesn't like the F word, right?
Yeah,
The felony world, right?
yeah, it has made it a little bit harder. So, when I got out a little over a year ago, I was trying to kind of put life back together, and I still have all my licenses. I can legally practice, but just getting hired became a little bit of a challenge.
Right.
A lot of firms don't want to hire someone with that on their record, and so what I ended up doing was starting my own business, doing more of what I call financial coaching.
Right.
So working with people through the behavioral side of money. There's a lot of if you look at money issues, there's a lot of similarities to addiction, right? It's a lot of shame, a lot of fear, a lot of
Impulse.
guilt, denial.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so that's what I do now. I actually kind of apply the 12-step kind of structure to people's financial lives, and it's really been pretty amazing to see how it works.
That's pretty incredible. How long you been doing that?
Love that part of your story.
Yeah,
So
me too.
launched the business about 3 months ago, and have had some just incredible feedback. And I'll give you an example. I was on a call with a client yesterday morning, and very successful guy. He's got a wife and two children, but they have quite a bit of debt, and he just feels this tremendous amount of guilt that he can't get off of his shoulders because of it
Sure.
feels like he put them in this situation. And so we just are starting off, but it just sounds so similar to the rooms and to people, some of the guys that I've sponsored. It's the same feeling, just applied to a different modality.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
So I'll just jump in real quick, Greg, to give some context on how I'm listening. I grew up in the financial world, more on the mortgage lending side, and you got to get licensed and all that. And when I met my wife 10 years ago, I'm like, well, my alcoholism, my bottom took me to. I told her, I said, I don't qualify for that world anymore. She goes, well, why? I'm like, well, my FICO score, and I owe the IRS, almost $600,000, and that's not looked on very favorable in the financial world, right?
Yeah.
And just the power of how this goes is, I mean, I have a position in the financial world. Well, I'm not just in it. I'm like a poster child. Like I have to get approved and background checked by the states and the financial boards, and this program has cleared the path, living through AA and the principles of AA and living differently. I mean, it's just amazing, the path. And I've actually used, and I'm not sure where you're at with this part of your story, but there are people, I take people's investments now, right? And I like to joke that, well, it's not a joke, it's real. Like 12 years ago, I couldn't talk you guys into buying me a $2 bottle of airplane bottle of vodka. I couldn't, and I tried. I'd be at the liquor store and had no money. I'm like, hey brother, can you help me out here? Just one little bottle. And like, no,
Right. Right.
So I go from that to I got guys writing me. I'm on the doorstep now of $85 million, and
Awesome.
and the key is, I tell them my story, right?
Yes.
And how I say it, Greg, I'm like, hey, look, let's have a one-on-one chat, right? I said, I know you're going to background me check. I know it shows up on that. There's, what I want to do is tell you a story that doesn't show up on the background check. And I tell them my story about, and I turn my pain and the alcoholic hell into a story that is actually become a superpower over time.
Yep. Yep. I was just going to say, you stole the words right out of my mouth. I heard that in the rooms early on was your story is your superpower. And so as I was kind of rebuilding things, I said, let me just stop hiding from this and really lean into it because that's where the real value is. I can be authentic because for so long, when I was working with these really wealthy people, I would try to make up stories and I would try to lie and manipulate and try to connect with them in a fake way to make them feel comfortable. But now, I don't need to do that. I can be who I really am and I can be confident. And my story really is it's the way that helps me connect with people in a way that I never have been able to before.
Yeah. Some of what I was listening to too is, and that I could really relate to with both of you, is when I was out there, when I was running up $1,700 bar tabs, everything was grandiose. I was the
Yeah.
guy, right? I was the guy, and I was going to conquer the world. And look at this article that was in the paper about me, not in the police blotter, but look at the other. Look at this article. Look at that article. Look at that article. I was buying into my own press. I was the guy. I was grandiose. I wanted to conquer the world. Everything was 6-figure, 7-figure communication in my head out to the world. Today, Mike is a much simpler kind of guy. Like, I would come to you, a financial coach, and I would say, all I want is just to survive. Now, that sounds like I've given up something. I haven't. I've gained something. I want control of my finances so that I'm not controlled by my finances. That's all I want. Yeah. I just want them to work for me, and if it means driving a 10-year-old Malibu Classic, then I'm okay with that, right? But before, I needed the car. I needed it. Today, I don't need those kind of things. Do you help people kind of come to grips? It's like the acceptance in AA, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying you're doing stuff that's principle related from AA, and do you find just acceptance? I needed to find that a Malibu was acceptable to me. I didn't need a Corvette.
Yeah, acceptance, and the other word I was thinking of is peace,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's understanding, what I have is enough, and there's a balance, right, between striving for more, but also being grateful for what you do have, and so
Grateful.
that's a lot of the work is around coming to some sense of peace, of relief, of the situation, and I kind of joke. If most of the financial advice in the world tells people to just stop spending, right? Don't go buy the $5 latte. Well, if just you tell someone that has a spending problem to just stop spending, it's like telling an alcoholic to just stop drinking, right? I mean, like, it sounds good,
That
but
is
you're not
awesome.
really like
That is
getting to
awesome.
the
I've never heard
underlying
of that.
issue.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
So two things. I'm going to give you the second piece. So what keeps you sober today? And then I'm going to ask the second part of that question. What keeps you from repeating the ills of the past? So what keeps you from going back out? So what keeps you sober? What keeps you coming? It sounds like it's the same question, but it's really not.
And then my third question is, tell us about your program. Share your program with folks and what that looks like to engage and succeed with you.
Yeah. So what keeps me sober is, so I go to meetings, every day, a couple of times, twice a day, depending on the day of the week. And I've got this incredible support group around me. My sponsor has become one of my best friends. And there's a number, I've probably got 40 names in my phone whose last names are AA, and guys that I can call whenever whenever my mind kind of starts going a little haywire. But so going to the meetings, hearing stories, I go to a couple of beginner meetings a week, even 20 months in, like, it just is really helpful for me to see people that are, coming right out and still in the early days. I do H&I commitments twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursday nights. One of them is a detox, so you're really seeing people right at the beginning, stages, a couple of days in, and that really is really helpful and impactful for me, and to remember, I was there not that long ago, and these last couple of this last year and a half has been great, but I could easily see it slipping right back to where it was, and frankly, like, I catch myself sometimes now building this business out. I can see kind of the workaholic coming out in me. I'm trying to optimize everything and work on this and update that, and I got to take a step back and say it's okay. I say a little prayer every morning. I say, God, put me in the places you want me to be, with the people you want me to be with, doing the things you want me to do.
I
And
love
so I
that.
just kind of have this, like, trust that whatever it is I'm doing every day is what I'm meant to be doing with the people I'm meant to be doing it with, and that really helps kind of ground me and keep me pushing forward, but at a reasonable pace.
I love that. I love that a ton. And so what do you do? What do you do? As Glenn said, his question is, what do you do? Wait, let me back up for a second. First of all, I love the fact that you're still on the front line. I love the fact that you were kind of reached in a jail. We've had people on that do jail ministry. Oh, that's the wrong word. They do jail service. And I've never done it, but they go into jails and hold AA meetings, and I think it is so awesome that they do that, and I'm so glad you were found there with this solution. So tell me what people get with your coaching. I'm interested.
Yeah. So it's the name of the company is called ClearPath Financial Coaching. I'm on Instagram at Greg Downs Coach. But really I've used this term financial sobriety. And so what we do is we go through, it's a 12-week program. We kind of do, we do one step a week, and we work through all of the issues. We start off, we do this financial unmanageability list. And so I'll ask, a series of questions of, have you ever hid a purchase from your spouse or your loved one? Have you ever
Ding, ding,
made
ding.
a purchase, right? Have you ever made a purchase to relieve some of the feelings that you're feeling?
Ding, ding, ding.
Have you ever got a credit card in the mail and shredded it up without looking at it?
Yeah.
So there's these series of things that we'll go through to kind of see, okay, it has your financial life gotten to a point where it's unmanageable. Recognizing then, what have you done in the past? Has it just been willpower alone that you've tried to change it? Are there other things? I tell a lot of my clients that a new spreadsheet or a new budget app isn't going to change behavior problems. You've got to get to the emotional underlying issues. And then, we go through that process. We'll do an inventory. We look at some of the emotions and behaviors that you want to change. We do kind of an amends process, which is more than just, paying off creditors and debt. We'll have someone talk to their spouse for the first time, or talk to a parent that they borrowed money from, or a friend that they borrowed money from, someone that they hid purchases from, and make those, those amends, right? And then, at the end, it's all about aligning your spending with your values. Are you spending on what you really truly value in life? Or is it just frivolous things, and really making your money speak to what you want to do in your life as well, so that everything kind of flows together.
That is awesome. And, I liken it to like a Christian financial counselor, right? And so they're giving good practical financial advice based on their spiritual alignment with Christianity. What I love about this is very unique. You're taking that same concept and you're just applying the principles and practices of Alcoholics Anonymous and it makes so much sense. Like you said, I dinged the bell there on a couple of those items, and and I love the amends part, right? Because so I made purchases without my wife's knowledge, and again, am I accountable to her? For many years, I was accountable to nobody. I love being accountable to other people now because it just keeps me in my lane.
I know. I've always said that. Now I have more accountability now than I did when I was 12 years old.
Right.
But I don't call it accountability. I call them guardrails.
Mm-hmm.
And I've built guardrails, financial, and spiritual and moral and just health. I mean, I have so many guardrails, but that's a winning strategy. So, Greg, the way I look at it, you are a guardrail. You are a solution. Your program, is a path forward, a winning path forward. To help train and guide people and help people be awareness, and then B, accountability.
Yep, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff. We're going to put your information on the web, but why don't you shoot that out one more time for us? And do you have what are the other resources? Just the website, the Instagram? What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, that's probably the best way. So on Instagram, it's Greg Downs Coach, and then the website is cpfinancialcoaching.com. But I'll send it out to you as well, so you guys will have the links.
Okay, awesome, man. Hey, one last thing for you.
Yeah.
You got a guy right now who's really angry. It's a listener, and they're really angry at somebody, right? And they're about to pull into their driveway, and they're about to tell them what they think they're going to do to them, right? And the guy's a little wasted. Talk talk to that guy right now. Talk to the guy who's about to pull the trigger on negatively affecting his life, and tell him what is out there for him if he makes certain decisions. Go ahead, talk to that guy right now.
Yeah, I would just say
Don't send a
don't
text.
do it, right? Yeah, and what I learned in the rooms, right? Play the tape forward, like see where this is going to go, and stop and pause for a moment, and really understand the ramifications this can have in your life if you do something like that. And there's a different way you can get to some of that peace and relief we talked about earlier, and it doesn't have to be in a jail cell. You can do something before it gets that bad.
Okay, good. We stopped the drastic. Now, lastly, and then we'll close, talk to the person who feels they're a negative slave to their finance right now. They feel like they're drowning financially. Talk to them. Give them some hope.
Yeah, I would say, you're not your credit score. You're not your credit card statement. You're not the debt that is piled up. You're a human being. You've made some mistakes, but you've got a chance to correct it, and you can come back if you're willing to do the inner work, because the inner work will be what reflects in the outer world.
Greg, you're a rock solid guy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
No, that's awesome.
For coming back.
Great to meet you. I look forward to staying connected.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Greg.
See you guys.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@Sober.Coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.